Hello, hello, hello. I am Shay Rippinger here of Hip to Hoopla. Welcome to the Hoopla of Y'all show, where we talk about health, humor, and hooping. All kinds of stuff. Here's the humor part. Well, it's not, I don't know if it's humor. Well, it is when you get that look. There's our pet cameo for the day. You wanted to sit in the chair, remember? She's like, yes, but I wanted to get food. This is Capri. She's doing a little pet cameo today. Okay, so our theme for today is like a boss. So, because I'm trying to do one word themes, boss is it. So, what makes you feel like a boss? Where's my mug? Oh, yes. Because what makes you feel like a boss? So, what is that term? When you feel, I don't want to say in control of things, but you feel very confident in what you're doing. So a lot of that comes with preparation and figuring it out in advance, what you need to be doing. Sometimes you don't always have the luxury of doing that. So sometimes you have to fake it till you make it anyway and make it look like you're awesome at it. So there was a great lesson that I got from one of the gals that when I was in a dance company in college. The NIU company dancers for Northern Illinois University. The gal that was president of the dance group before me. Hi, Joan. Um, Everybody, thanks for joining. The gal that was there before me, it was really interesting because she would just come in. We knew she wasn't prepared, and yet she just came in and acted like she knew what everything how it was handled, and amazingly, it worked out that way for her. So it was a great lesson that, I would always like panic. And when I was president, I didn't have nearly that same sense of confidence that she had. But I learned something that's a possibility. And so that's a pretty cool thing to do. So, like a boss, sometimes you need some help to feel like a boss. So, how to get that boss feeling? It has to do with you, whatever brings you your own self-confidence. So also, if you want, type into the comment section. I may not type in back to you. I usually don't type while I'm on the live feed, which I'm on right now. And thank you for watching the recording, if you're watching the recording of this. But the I will address the comments afterwards and also within the video. So if you're typing comments or you have questions, type them in and I'll answer them live while we're on the live stream. So, all right. So that's the little bit of homework. I'm trying not to squish the kitty. The kitty's in here. There we go. There's a cat. Yes. Say hi, kitty. Yes. Okay. All right. So, all right. Back to what makes you feel like a boss. And again, personal preference as to what you like. For me personally, here's some ideas and suggestions. And pinstripes for me is a weird thing, but that makes me feel like boss-like. I don't know why pinstripes. So I wore my little pinstripe vest today. So yeah, because that's a cool thing. I would have worn my hat, except that one of my actually, I suppose I could wear my hat. But one of my other things that makes me feel boss, helps me to be able to think and think clearly, is to have my hair up. Like I need to have shoes on and my hair back. So I can't have like wispies in my face. Again, that's just me. That's my personal thing. But whatever makes you feel like a boss. Now here's a cool thing that I got. This was from believe it or not, a high school speech class, and it was from the speech teacher. And interestingly enough, she had given us advice to not wear boots when we did a speech because it gave us like an air, kind of like I want to say air of authority. She didn't put it that way, but she didn't want us to be cocky or whatever. And she said no boots. So the women at the time were supposed to wear skirts or dresses, and the guys were supposed to wear a suit to be able to do the speech. And if you weren't doing those things, then you weren't able to give your speech, which meant you couldn't get your grade or whatever. Anyway, but she didn't like wearing boots. Ever since then, now when I think of putting on boots, I feel very powerful when I put on boots. So guess what I have on today? My boots. I love to perform in these boots too because they're nice and flat. So for me, I like to be able to perform and walk. So even though I'm short, I don't wear a lot of heels because I do not feel confident in heels because I don't feel like I can walk very well in them. I used to wear them all the time, a long time ago, but now I don't feel the need to have to do that anymore. But anyway, so again, those are some things for me: hair up, boots, pinstripes. Again, just a few things. Sometimes I like to have something around that is a saying that helps me out. So I just recently got this mug that says "Boss Lady." And I didn't even fill it for today because I didn't want to be able to read it and then spill on camera. So, and it says, I am not bossy, I am the boss on the inside. Isn't that cute? Clever. And it's a really big, big kahuna of a mug. I was going to say another word, but I just watched another video today and they were talking about if you're PG, G or PG, and that your videos will get rated better or something like that. And I know I've started swearing, when I had all this skin cancer stuff to deal with, I wasn't using very pretty language because I wasn't feeling very pretty about that situation. So it's a little different now. As you can see, it's healing up. I'm not all that happy with the results so far, but I just ran into some friends of ours the other night, and interesting story. Both of them had melanoma removed, and the one gal had a tiny spot on her nose, and she said tiny, like little teeny tiny, and she had 75 stitches, and that was the wife. And then the husband, and obviously at separate times, had a spot on his arm, and I think he called it like a salmon or something like that. But I'm guessing it was fish size, the size that they took out of his arm. So, and obviously he's a bigger person than I am, but his scar has healed up like a lot considerably over the years and stuff like that. Mine is supposed to take like a year to heal, so it's not there yet. And so hence why I'm still like about it sometimes. But in comparison to what some other people are going through, not a big deal. But yeah, interestingly enough, he had such a big skin removal on his arm. They thought he thought he would not be able to play drums again. He's an amazing drum player, a drummer that just to think of him not playing drums would be just whoa. So anyway, just to show that you can move past some things and be like a boss through things. I was also just chatting online with another gal who it turns out she's another hooper as well. And we were just going back and forth, exchanging stuff. We're going to talk later on this week, but about skin cancer. And she's in a drug trial for hers because hers had gone to her lymph nodes. So, again, we talk about health on this show, so I'm going to keep it real and, talk about like what I'm going through as I'm going through it and stuff like that. And you can follow the journey because although you may not have the same journey, you may have a journey of something that is relatable for you. So, but anyway, yeah, she's in a drug trial and she's going through all kinds of stuff. And, oh boy, I don't envy her journey at all. But I think, even through our conversation, one of the takeaways was, the preventative maintenance of stuff. Because she was like, well, I wouldn't, if you don't have to get treated, if you don't need to, like get it known, get the lymph node biopsy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Because also the doctors did tell me that I didn't need to do that because they had gotten everything out. But that's also another thing. I go in for my first skin checkup follow-up next week. So stay tuned and I will keep you posted. There's another suspicious spot and I'm like, okay, well, I have a different approach than the previous approach that I feel like I was kind of bullied into by the medical thing. I'm glad I went through it in retrospect, but I only want to have to go through that once and learn my lesson of how to do it in that way, and also have a sense of compassion for the people that have to do things in a certain way, or we're told you're supposed to do it this way, and that's not always true. So that's another part of the being like a boss. So we went over a couple things that make you feel like a boss, but also sometimes not every day you wake up feeling like a boss, right? And I'm joking about the, sometimes you are an employee. I'm not even talking about that part, but I'm just talking about the inner sense of where you feel confidence. And again, not in control, because life doesn't always get to let us feel in control a lot. We might feel in control, but that's kind of a little false sense of security, and just, wait till health issues come up, or Mother Nature, or whatever, life, and throw something at you and feel how not in control you feel. The people that have to go through natural disasters. There's people here right now going through forest fires, and I'm sure they weren't planning on their life going that way. But we have to roll with whatever hands were dealt. So whether by Mother Nature or the forces beyond, whatever. Anyway, so sometimes when you're not feeling like a boss, and you're not feeling in control, you can get into the second guessing yourself stage. That, you know, I think we all go through that. Of the second guessing is, where you doubt yourself. You doubt your own sense of intelligence, and the stuff that you truly know in your heart and in your mind, and in your soul, in your core, that you know to be true for you. And again, it could be different for different people. So how do you get out of that stage of the second guessing, where you're not feeling very confident, and you're not feeling in control? One thing, I think we get a sense of control over, routines. So if we fall into like a pattern of something, and this could be good or bad, but if you can set up some good patterns for yourself, that's going to be one of those really helpful things. Starting out your morning, however works well for you, to get the success patterns in. For a lot of people, they get up early, they might, meditate, do tea, or do yoga, or do reading, or pray, or exercise, eat a nice breakfast, spend time with their family, hug their significant other, kiss them, do whatever else with them, whatever. But some of those patterns of getting your morning started well is a good way to start on that, and getting the pet love too. Okay, Capri. She's like crawling around my back. Ow! And the claws need to get clipped again, don't they? Okay. So, all right. So, second guessing. So sometimes when you don't know that you don't know, you feel very helpless, and that's where second guessing comes in, is where you kind of feel helpless with stuff. Other people around you seem smarter. You trust their judgment because they look like they know what they're doing. They're acting like a boss, and you are not. So, but anyway, one thing, if you're not feeling very knowledgeable in something, is go do some research. Go get some knowledge in this stuff that you do not feel comfortable or confident in. So for me, doing some research on this stuff, I'd never, you don't necessarily know about things that you don't have to deal with, because there's a lot of information out there, right? So we can't know about everything in the world, but you tend to get to know about things that you have to deal with, right? So for me, it was this melanoma, skin cancer. So I got to know a little bit more about it. I am not an expert in it by any means. I don't claim to be, but for myself, I'm getting knowledge for myself so that I can make my decisions accordingly. So also, you make the best decisions that you can with the knowledge you have at the time. So, if you can do your research a little bit better, and we all have libraries around us, and if you have a computer, well, if you're watching or listening to this somehow, then you have access to a whole data field of information. The web is a gold mine of information. Not all of it is accurate, and of course there are differing opinions too. So even though it's you kind of have to sort through a lot of stuff and then decide for yourself what you're going to go with and what resonates true for you. So when we had a health food store, interestingly enough, there's a lot of different modalities of healing. So one of the things that I learned and I gathered was that it's whatever you believe in that works for you. So I understand that there was a field called iridology, and I'm like, what's that? And it's looking at your eyeballs, and that there are healthcare providers that specialize in looking at the eyes, and they they can see your health issues of what's going on with your eyes. So that's a whole field, right? So there are people that go to a person like that. They might be people that go to an acupuncturist. There are people who believe in the power of prayer. People that believe in crystals. There are people that don't believe in crystals, or believe in mediums or don't believe in mediums. So sometimes it's what I found is that whatever you put your faith into, really, it's for you. So it may or may not work. I read a book a long time ago that Gilda Radner wrote, and Gilda Radner was a famous comedian off of Saturday Night Live, one of the original cast members, and she wrote "It's Always Something," and she had one of her characters was Rosanna Dana. But anyway, her thing was "It's always something." I can't do her the impression as well at all, but interestingly enough, I was reading about her journey, and she was married to Gene Wilder at the time, and who was another comedian as well. And her journey was quite a struggle for her, and she'd gone on a raw food diet. And I remember, like for her, she was also going through medical treatments as well, being chemo and radiation. And it's a great book. It's an older book, but it's worth a read if you get a chance. But she just the interesting thing was that with that raw food diet, and it didn't seem to work for her. So just because you want it to work doesn't mean it necessarily does. But again, that's one side of the coin. I do believe that whatever you put your faith into can work for you, because like the power of prayer, interestingly enough, like that's one of those things. And I'm not personally talking about religious stuff. It's just like you could call it meditation if you want. So I'm not talking about praying to a deity, but just, I don't know, being, and prayer to creator, whatever you might call it. But anyway, again, not for me, it's not a religious thing, but for other people it might be. So whatever, again, whatever you put your faith into, and faith doesn't necessarily have to be religious based either. It's just, faith is more of what your belief is, what you want to put your belief into. That's what I consider faith to be. So anyway, and okay, so getting back to Lagabos, the second guessing thing, get your research in. Also, so these are kind of like the steps of the confidence so that you can stop second guessing yourself. Okay, so once you do your research and you feel a little bit more confident in your knowledge, that's a really helpful thing to do. And again, as I just mentioned, a lot of times when you're doing your research, you have different shades of things, and you have different variations of things, and you have different spectrums. So one may call this right, and this one might call it wrong. So my second recommendation to help you stop second guessing is to meditate on things. And you can think of this however you want. But basically, you get quiet and you go within your center. You get quiet and figure it out. You like sense what's really in your heart, what's really in your brain, and you will distill this information for you, so you find the right path for you. So, and again, I always stress this, whatever the right path for you might not be the right path for somebody else. So my path is my journey. It may not be for everybody else's journey, but it's my choice. So of some of it at least. So all right, so research, meditate. The last the step that I would consider for to help stop second guessing is getting that sense of self. So once you have done your research, once you have gotten quiet and still, I always say that you actually do know your own answers. So a lot of times we're like searching out there for the answer, but if you actually get really quiet, you will know the answers. And this is me personally, again, I think a lot of times, our ancestor angels send us some information and stuff like that. So some of it comes up as like just a thought, a little like, oh, I had an idea, so maybe it was yours, or maybe somebody just sent it to you going, you need this right now. Like you ask the universe for help, and then the universe like sends you some answers, and then you've got to pay attention to what those answers are. So there is a great joke that I heard, and this is a religious one, but it's a generic religious joke, and that is the person is stranded on the rooftop and there's flooding, and so this person is on the rooftop and is praying to God and going, God, God, help me, help me, help me, help me. And there's variations of this joke too. So a boat comes by, and they go, here, jump in the boat, and he goes, no, 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 God is going to help me, God is going to help me. And then another thing comes by, like a helicopter comes by, and they drop down the line, and they go, come on, climb up the rope, we'll get you. No, 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 God is going to help me, God is going to help me. And like a third rescue mission comes by, and like, no, 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 God's going to help me, God's going to help me. And so this person dies and drowns, and then goes to the pearly gates. And again, this is a religious joke, this is a really old joke, but the point of it is interesting. So goes to the pearly gates, and says, what the heck happened? I asked God for help. And they go, we sent you a boat, we sent you a helicopter, and we sent you another thing. Like, what did you need to take advantage of, like, we sent you that. So anyway, so you have to pay attention to the signals from the universe, because there may be something that, you asked, and it may not come in the format that you want it to. So maybe you wanted a yacht to come pick you up from the flooding or whatever, and a little dinghy with, a family in it, and dogs and chickens comes by. Well, that's still a way to get out of that situation. So, it may not be your perfect ideal situation, it may not be how you envisioned it, but it is the solution that helps you, move along to the next thing that you need to do. So anyway, all right, so hopefully those things will help you to stop second guessing yourself, and that you can get along with feeling like a boss. So on that note, we're going to take a nice deep breath. So this is one of those things that I love to do. It's a laughter yoga exercise, but I'm going to mix it with another thing that is on YouTube, and I'm trying to remember the author of it. I will put it up in the notes for the YouTube video, because it's a really great thing, but it's a power pose thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this laughter yoga exercise, but we're going to mix it with this power pose thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice deep breath in, roll the shoulders back so that we're nice. So, and on the last one, we're going to do this as the power pose. So you strike the power pose is like how the superheroes do it. Like, ha-ha, so you can stand with your feet apart, you can wear boots if you like, you can wear whatever you want, you can do this naked, I don't care, I don't have to see you, anyway, but you want to put your hands on your hips, however feels good to you. I like, doing that. You can do the Wonder Woman pose, you can, whatever, you can do the victory pose, anything that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you're in command. So you want to have a nice straight spine with this, and you're going to take a nice big inhale, and then on that power pose, we're going to just laugh it out, like kind of like a Jolly Green Giant laugh, okay? So we'll try that 3 times with that variation that we just added. So we're going to take a deep breath in, roll the shoulders back, love it out. Okay, one more time, or well, 2 more times. Ready? So from the side view, take a deep breath in, roll the shoulders back, and then other side view, shall we? And take a nice deep breath in, roll the shoulders back, power pose. Love have it out. Okay, at the end of laughter yoga exercises, hopefully you get that nice, good oxygenation in your lungs. Yes, it may feel silly, but really doing that power pose really helps. So give that a shot. At the end of the laughter yoga exercises, as you may well know if you've been with me before, and if you don't, try this with me now. What we're going to do is clap our hands together, and we're going to go very good, yay, and we do that twice. So ready? Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Okay, so, and that is how we end laughter yoga stuff. Laughter yoga stuff is also, the exercises are very good for when you laugh, you release a lot of endorphins, and that will help with you getting you like a boss as well. So if you can laugh in a situation, use that sense of humor, that is very helpful. So definitely, thank you so much. Getting hearts across the screen. So I love doing live, and when people participate, thank you so much for joining. So yeah, so get that power pose, and you know there may be days that you wake up and you're not feeling very like a boss. You're not feeling like, power pose, really? This is what I got up feeling like. I don't have this mug. I have, like, my mug is half full. Oh, I guess I had a little water because I did wash it out because I thought I was going to use it. My boss lady mug. Woohoo! So when you wake up and you're not feeling all that like a boss, do the things that you can that will help you get there. So whether it be wearing something in particular, whether it be carrying something like a little talisman, you know, maybe like, let's see here, I've got like a little set of angel wings. It fell off a little angel thing, but it's kind of cool. I could stick this in my pocket, and then nobody has to know. I could just feel these angel wings and go, I have the power of the angels with me. I can go through anything and be strong and be like a boss. So you can do something like that. You can, you know, whatever it is for you. It could be starting out with a good breakfast. It could, you know, breathing exercises are really good. Getting a lot of oxygenation in. When you change your posture and lift up, that will be very helpful for feeling like a boss. Okay, so also like a boss, so we do health, humor, and hooping. So we covered a little bit of the humor, a little bit of the health. Now let's cover some hooping. All right, so if I can get my hoop out here. All right, so one of the things is we don't always feel like a boss. So sometimes our hoop gets away from us, right? And we may not be able to control that, correct? Because it's a moving object, and much like life, sometimes you just have to reach for it, and hopefully you can catch it. So here's a trick that I was experimenting with, and then, like many things, when you feel like you're goofy because you're just doing it on your own, and you're like, oh, this isn't anything, and then you go to a workshop and it validates everything you were just working on. This was one of those moves for me. I went to a Nick Guzzardo workshop, and he taught a whole workshop on this hook hand thing. So I was like, I was totally doing that already. I was experimenting with this. So anyway, what this hook hand is, so let's say your hoop is going out of control. So it's going out. What you're going to do is, it's big round plastic circle. I'm using a smaller one because this is a small office space that I do this show from. But what you're going to do is stick your hand anywhere inside the big plastic circle, okay? So in other words, you don't have to be really precise and catch it by the rim. And, you know, so like that's great if you can do that. But also, this is more of a, oops, but I need to catch it and make it still look good. So you're coming up and you're just hooking it. Okay, kitty, the cat's right below my feet, so I almost tripped over the cat and like went down. Not like a boss. Anyway, so, but what you're going to do is when you're, you know, this is going out of control, hook it, and then you can do all kinds of things with this. So one of the things that I did get from Nick that was an interesting way to work with this is he used his hand accordingly. So when this is spinning, you can use your pinky to turn it in one direction and stop it, and you can use your thumb to turn it in the other direction and stop it. So you can do that in addition to your hook hand. Like I use it as a recovery move, but you can use it for all kinds of things to move and get things moving. So not only can you do a hook hand, you can do a hook foot. So I think that's where doing the scorpion pass came in, because you're like, whoo, how do you do that? You know, and you just catch it because you need to. So that's where a lot of this comes up with your recovery moves is, and I don't care if you're a hooper or not. So like if you're a hooper, this hooping move makes sense. But this is also a generic life thing too. So you just, this is one of my pieces of advice in class, but it works for all things. And that is, make it look like you meant to do that. So let's say you drop the hoop. You can have this horrified look on your face and really get all down on it, like, oh, I dropped the hoop. Ah. Now, how do you feel watching me do that? Probably just like, I feel sorry for that girl. She just dropped her hoop because, you know, she's got this horrified look on her face. Or I dropped the hoop and it's like, ha. Make it look like you meant to do that. So how fast you can recover is, and how you go about it, you know, because everybody has to go through stuff, whether it be dropping a hoop, something as little as dropping a hoop, which isn't that big of a deal, or something like dropping the ball in life, which could be a very major deal. So, but how you handle it, if you make it look like you meant to do that, or try and recover with a sense of humor, a sense of grace, a sense of presence, then that can make all the difference in the world. So, okay, so try that hook grip. That is a fun thing. You can also, with this hook grip, I like, this is a nice little variation of this, is where you're hooking and so this is what it looks like from the side view. And you have to get this momentum so that you can keep it in alignment, otherwise it's going to flip all over the place. So you get a little bit of momentum on this to flip it straight back and forward. It's going to take some time and practice, and it's going to probably hit your face and, you know, hit some other thing. But you can do that. That hook leads into a multitude of different things. This is how you know it's live. It's not all perfect. Oop, see? Yes, I squished the kitty. I told you, kitty, why do you have to sit there? It's not a good place to be. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, you stay there. Okay, so this is the side view. This is the forward view of this one. So also try and make your appendages, the ends of them, nice. So if you're doing this like with this T-Rexing kind of thing, this is not the most beautiful way to do this. But what you can do is, you know, this sounds silly, but cheerleader arms, like hands. So you want to finish your hands in a nice pointed way. Or I call it this cheating belly dance hands. I've gone over this before. I think I even have some tutorials out there for this. You take meditation pose, thumb and forefinger, slide it down, flip it over. You have what I call cheating belly dance hands, and you keep it glued, and then your hands look pretty. So it looks like you're meaning to do something. So if you keep the hands nice like that, that should be good. Okay. Ha! Now, stop. Stop. There we go. Okay. Anyway, so getting that going. That's what it looks like from the front view. This is what it looks like from the side view. So, and then you can take this, get this over, hook, 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 hook. You can switch it, hook, flip, flippy folds, all kinds of stuff. So this hook hand can get into a multitude of different things. And it's really great as a recovery move, but it's also good as a transition as well. So you can use that to transition between your hoop moves. So hopefully that was kind of fun, kind of valuable for you. Some good workshop tips that I teach, I have played with, and I have learned from others. So all of the above. So you're getting some good knowledge in a few minutes, right? So distilled from many years of practice. Somebody yesterday. It was a long weekend full of performing. So, but somebody said, yeah, well, it's good. You're kind of good. Have you? How long you been doing? It's like, they said you're kind of good, and I was like, I would hope so. After 10 years of practice, you know, I'm like, I hopefully. I mean, you know, this is kind of like black belt status to me. It took me 4 years to earn my 4th degree black belt in Jeet Kune Do, and so it wasn't an easy process by any means, but it took a while and all that kind of good stuff. But you know, the black belt thing is when I first got my first black belt, you realize how much you don't know. So even though you think that that's the ultimate pinnacle of knowledge and expertise, it's like the, going to the cliff's edge and then going, whoa, there's canyon down there of all the stuff I don't know that I haven't jumped through yet. So same thing with hooping. Although I do feel fairly confident in it, I can always learn more. So that's another thing with that confidence. You may feel like a boss until you see somebody else. It seems way more boss-like. And the interesting thing is they might think that of you. So when you have like such mad respect for somebody else, and they might have that for you as well. So there are people out there that may not think of themselves as the greatest hoopers, and I have a very dear respect for them because, even though they may not think that of themselves, I love their spirit. There's always something I love about watching different hoopers. It could be their smile, it could be their spirit, it could be how they're doing something. And it's not about all their talent and expertise and tricks and all that kind of stuff. I might just like how they dance and how they get in with the music. That's pretty cool. So that is very boss-like. So find whatever it is for you that works for you. Like for me, I was like, all right, I have to be able to distinguish myself in hooping. And for me, I was like, what do I do well? I do some flexibility stuff, so that was something. I do belly dance. Not everybody who hoops does belly dance. So I can throw some, I can do some different things that, one of my favorite moves is this one here, is getting a little bit of a belly dance move in with a hooping move. So it's like a favorite thing for me, and it's one of my, I call it a shtick. But it's just like something that I do that is more of my style that I've developed for myself. So I don't have to be a cookie cutter image of everybody else out there. And because those styles, there's a Rachel Lust, there's an Ann Humphreys, there's, Spiral, there's all of these wonderful people out there that have these really neat styles. And you can imitate them, but you will never be them and you shouldn't be them because they're them. And they're already doing a good job at being them. But you can be you and bring all the things that you have from your experience. This is what I always recommend to all my class people is whatever your experience is, bring it to the table. I don't care if it's dance or accounting or tennis or whatever. I had a gal who came to my classes. She was a synchronized swimmer. That's a form of dance. That's a form of endurance and athleticism that not everybody has that. Not everybody can do this underwater upside down and hold their breath and all that kind of stuff. So she could add that to her hooping, and that was a very unique addition to layer into something that, like maybe we're all doing this, but maybe she has a unique perspective of how to do that is awesome for her, that differentiates her because of her style. So, and what makes your style helps make you a boss, right? So, on that note, I thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to call it quits for the show for today, and thank you so much. So, definitely follow the journey, and like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, and yeah. All right, so rock on, peace out, hoop love y'all. And we'll see you on the next show. We do this Monday nights at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. And my goal is to do 50 shows this year. So on a weekly basis. And I'm going to actually have to, because I started later in the year. I started in February. So I didn't have all of them. And I had to skip a couple dates because of travel. I'm going to stick a couple bonus shows in as well. So they might be like some special presentations. So stay tuned for those coming up because I want to end out the year with 50 shows under my belt. So, under the belt. Yeah. All right. So, rock on. Peace out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Shay Rippinger of Hip the Hoopla. And hoop love, y'all. Hey, pet Cameo. Kitty. That was my boot. That wasn't the cat screaming. Okay, that was the cat. Okay, say bye, Capri. Oh, look at that. Yes. All right. Bye.